Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wet race like it was last time out in Britain. Dry qualifying session, so qualifying was really important to get right. Obviously, I don't think they know about the weather conditions, but it's intermediate tyres, it seems, the green wall tyres. And we'll see then how it all plans out. Alpine, looks like they got it covered in P1 and P2. Let's see if they work with each other and try and pull away from the rest of the pack. Leo in P3, last appearance here was in Mexico. Did a fantastic job at the Mexican Grand Prix, had a penalty, but managed to extend that 3-second gap to take the victory of the race. And meanwhile, while the formation lap is happening, Arnapol Gamer and Denerko have appeared to fill out 16th and 17th. But we'll have a look at the championship standings then. I think I've downloaded it right. So round 4, then round 3 was the British GP last time. IFR leading the championship ahead of TFE, by 20 points. Team Shazoo is matching with Talent Factory Esports. They're both on the same points in P2 and P3. Team TF10 are in P4 ahead of OP Racing, FVR P6, NLR P7, LFR P8, TTG P9 and Quest Racing Team QRT are last, but managed to get some decent points on the board at the British GP, so hopefully for their sake they can keep it up. But it is IFR Esports team leading. Rudy and the Dutch Missile P7 and P10 represented IFR. It could be an interesting race then. The 28 laps around USA. Will it get better? Will the track conditions get better? Will we see the dry tyres out there? If it's a non-stop, I think the intermediates can go towards the end, so we could see a non-stop strategy. No tyre life around here. Well, tyre life on the wets and inters are good in general. Can withstand a lot of water. But all the cars that line up on the grid: Bowling in P1, FBI by P2, Leo P3, OP Raki P4, Fozillo in P5 ahead of Jack Humphries, Rudy P7, Harm, Joey, the Dutch Missile rides on the top 10. They're followed by Julian, CC Brain, Lewis, Toxic Tomato, Betuxai, Ardapol Gamer and Denerko, who is in last place there. So both Mercedes might find it a little bit difficult, but let's see who's got the skill in the wet. Very hard to overtake around. He needed a decent exit coming out of turn 11. A heavy tracksuit zone there might find it difficult, but who can get a good start off the line then, coming out of turn number 1. As there are the lights there, 3, 4, 5 lights, and we are underway for round 4, the USA Grand Prix. There looks like both Alpines got an even start as they both slot in position there. As you can see, the Red Bull then around the outside of the Alpine as we head into turn 1. The Aston Martin then trying to go down the inside, but has to bail out of it as we make our way into turn 1. The Alfa Romeo versus Red Bull. You can see a few cars off the track there. One of them spun. That was the Dutch Missile who has gone for a spin, but OP Reiki is now alongside the Red Bull and he makes his way up into P3. Then they both had a fight all the way from turn 1 to turn 2, and OP Reiki then got out ahead, getting his muscles out there. Leo had to back out for sure. Ardapel Gamer and Denerko, P11 and P12. Look at that midfield scrap there. You can see Julian, Harm and Denerko all in the mix together as they try to make their way around the range. You can see they're negotiating around the first sector. It can be very difficult in the first sector indeed, full of corners. But Denerko then right behind Harm as we make our way into turn 11. Is Harm going to go down the inside? Double locks the brakes into turn 11, gets the car slowed down and gives the Red Bull a nice squeeze on the curve there. Denerko gets a better exit than the Red Bull and out tractions him, and he is alongside him now as they're both tucked in on the slipstream behind Harm. As we make our way down into the heavy braking zone, which one of them is going to brake later on the brakes? Going to be careful, don't go to the back of Harm. Further ahead, Joey versus Facilio for P5. They had a good old scrap, but Denerko then gets ahead of the Red Bull as Fuzio then defends from Joey. Jack Humphries is right behind. Will Joe go for a switchback and go down the inside of the Alfa Romeo? Look at Rudy in there. And Joey then trying to go around the outside but can't quite do so. Denerko down the inside of the Williams. Then Williams gets out of shape. Somebody behind has just spun. That looks like an Alpha Tauri who's gone for a spin in the background there. Unfortunately for them, Dutch Missile and CC Brain, it looks like they're struggling. Dutch Missile spun coming out of turn number 1. Looks like CC Brain took a little bit of pain as Harm goes a little bit wide at the exit of turn 21. Then as we head off round lap 1, sorry, Boland leads by 1.1 second gap. OP Reiki is tucked in right behind him. As we make our way down to turn 1 then, those two will be working together. OP Reiki would definitely hope to get past him as quickly as he can before the Alpine of Boland sets off on a mission. Toxic Tomato right behind Arnapel Gamer as we head into turn number 1 for these drivers. Denerko then looking at different lines to try and take on Harm. Not enough room to go around the outside of there. Needs a better exit than Harm in this first sector. Change directions. Will he try get him into turn 11, or will he wait down the straight for turn 12? You see him taking different lines than Harm. Much more confident, must be said, as Harm then almost gets out of shape. And it's a bad exit. He's got off the track, and that's allowed Denurko to go through. And unfortunately for Harm, is down in P10 then. Will he try to go back down the inside? No, he won't. He stays behind for the time being, but can I out-drag him? As something's happened. Is that FBI by? He's gone for a spin? What's happened down there? Oh, FBI then has gone for a spin. And unfortunately, he's rejoined down in P17. Did he lose it on pure traction? Did OP Reiki looks like he got caught in an accident as well. He's down in 7th place, fighting with Rudy. Big apologies for missing that. But OP Reiki goes down the inside then of Rudy. I was not expecting OP Reiki to go down the inside in turn 11. I thought he would have waited for turn number 12. OP Reiki then, I think they both made contact. And unfortunately, FBI by has came out worst of it down in P17. OP Reiki's just dropped a few positions then. So his teammate now is on a charge. Fazilio in P3 then tucked him right behind Leo, as there's a massive gap from P1 to P2 thanks to that incident between OP. I'll judge it as an incident, seeing as they both fell down the order. Or it could have been a case if FBI by spotted by himself and OP Reiki got caught up in it. But Julian then, an Ardpole Gamer fights in the final corner. Julian goes off the track, and here comes Ardpole Gamer then. To give him a little bit of a, you can see him banging wheels there. It must be personal between these two as we go into turn number 1 then. Ardpole Gamer then gets ahead of the Red Bull driver. And unfortunately for him, he's demoted down into P11. Promoted by position from FBI by down in P17. It looks like Bolin then in P1 has run away with it so far with a 3.2 second gap. Will we see a change in conditions, or will he remain wet throughout the whole race? Looks like Harm there. You can see the back end of the car sliding in that first sector. OP Reiki and Rudy then putting pressure on Jack Humphries. Both Aston Martins quite handy in the wet, it must be said, due to evidence of different leads. But OP Fusilio then looks like he's outside the 1 second range of Leo. Now he's got himself back in it then, momentarily just outside of it. No DRS of course in the wet conditions, unfortunately, so it's just all about pure skill, keeping it on the road, making sure you don't spin or slide around in corners. Joey then looks like he was later on the brakes. I thought he had a look down the inside, but the door was firmly shut. Ardpole Gamer is up into P9, out brakes himself, gets on the curb, but Julian's come back at him. Harm gets past him, and Julian's just hit the back of Harm. Trying to liberate later than Ardpole Gamer. Harm's going wide due to the contact with Julian. And they can see him all sliding around the corner trying to get back on the throttle as early as they can. Harm and Ardpole Gamer go side by side coming through turn 15, and Ardpole Gamer with the outside line gets ahead. So Harm there gained 2 places and lost them immediately as Julian and Ardpole Gamer fought it out for P9 and P10. Toxic Tomato is waiting in the wings as well. But both Mercedes have made good progress from P16 and P17 on the grid. They're up into P8. And as you can see there, Ardpole Gamer is in P10. Toxic Tomato's gone down the inside of Harm. Looks like he's made the move stick. His Ferrari teammate's coming too. He's going to opt to go down the inside. Will he though? Will he outbrake him into turn number 1? No, Harm outbrakes him. Will he go down the inside into Toxic Tomato? He brakes late. Both making contact. And he goes off the track, does Toxic Tomato. Be careful when to rejoin it. Doesn't make sure he loses traction. But Harm then defending from Lewis. Actually outbroke himself and took on Toxic Tomato. I wonder if Toxic Tomato was expecting it. But Leo down in P2. Can he bring this gap down? 2.8 second gap. Looks like Bolin is comfortable up at the front. He's got company from Fasilio in P3 there, followed by the 2 Aston Martins. Though Joey's handy in the wet conditions up into P4. And his teammate's right behind him at Jack Humphries, so he's got that extra protection from his Aston Martin teammate. CC Brain then has overtaken Lewis down at turn 11. Lewis looks like he's going to come back at him at the exit at turn 11, but better traction then as they both apply the ERS. It's going to be a drag race all the way down into turn number 12. Let's see who comes out on top of that. Which one is later on the brakes? Will Lewis force out CC Brain wide? As we head down into turn number 12, the lock up from both of them. Lewis then, you can see there, CC Brain has to go off the track. And back down the inside he goes into turn number 13. Lewis coming back at him. A little bit of contact between the two. And CC Brain then for the time being stays ahead of Lewis for P13. Good fight between those two. Starts at turn 11. Lewis actually overtook him down the inside into. I think that was Harm on that occasion because Harm got Toxic Tomato back It looks like he's pulled away from him as well. 1.1 second gap between Toxic Tomato and Harm. Harm's got a little bit wide through that penultimate corner, but getting very careful to do it more than 2 times, otherwise he'll find himself picking up that 3-second time penalties. As we can see, fastest laps there coming in. Julian is just at the fastest lap, went to 47.0. Didn't have the best of qualifying, unfortunately for him. But what can he do in this race then? It could be a long race ahead of us in these wet conditions. Plenty of opportunities, and safety cars can happen as well. They're just all stuck behind each other. The leading gang is Fuzzio leading the guys behind. Can he drop Joey out of his slipstream in P4? He's currently tucked in behind Leo. Apologies about the Aston Martin camera angles. I know Shazoo Tom will probably be watching this. Hopefully I can get that sorted. We're making our way then down into turn 11. Nobody's close enough on that occasion, but Joey's got a little bit deep then. Coming through turn 11 is Denurko close enough to try and make a move on OP Reiki then as we come out on the exit at turn number 11. And Jack Humphries then right behind his teammate. We'll always see the 2 Aston Martins swapping positions. And then we won't. Joey stays ahead of his teammate for the time being. Joey goes deep again. He goes off the track, so he's misjudged his braking zone twice in a row. Gotta be careful that he doesn't open up doors of opportunities there for his rivals behind. Gotta get the brakes probably about before the 100-meter board, I think, in the wet conditions especially. But looks like Joey then a little bit is struggling a little bit there. His teammates are all over the back of him. We've got to be very careful not to let any of these guys behind Jack through, because both Aston Martins are in a really good position in P4 and P5. I think it's going to be a non-stop as well on these intermediate tyres. So it's all about track positioning. So in fact, it was all about qualifying really. Qualifying was pivotal for all these drivers. Unfortunately, FEI by down in P17 then got caught out with an incident with OP Reiki. Apologies if you didn't watch that there, but you can see they're locking up its tail while Rudy goes a bit deep into turn number 1 then. They keep on experimenting with the breaker zones. Wonder how many drivers have had practice, but FBI by then is right behind the Dutch Missile. The Dutch Missile also had an incident down at turn 1. I think he spun out of there, not quite sure if there was contact in the process there, other than losing traction. But Harm then, the first man to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Ardapol Gamer has dropped him, trying to put pressure on Julian, but Julian in a Mercedes sandwich down there in P9. It'll be very difficult for him to try and make progress from there, being stuck in this little train. What can FEI by do? Can he hope for a safety car to come out later in the race? Currently, well, it's not too far behind actually, so I don't think a safety car will do him any favours, to be honest with you, but he's just going to have to try and find a way past off the Dutch Missile. No, he's got the skill and the pace, but when he's stuck behind another car in dirty air, it's very hard to overtake, especially when you're in a low downforce, high downforce setup as well in the rain. It's not going to help your chances of overtaking, especially on this long straight here. So it might be a bit of pain and suffering for FEI by down in P17, unfortunately. But Ardapol Gamer there, right behind Julian. As you can see, the Mercedes driver, the Red Bull then, what happened to him? Because it's about 1 second behind Denurko. Now he's 2.1, so I wonder then if he made a mistake in that third sector. Did he get on the throttle too early? The rear light up, sorry. But yeah, you can see there, Julian, Denurko has dropped Julian. And now Ardapol Gamer is putting pressure on the Red Bull driver ahead of him. Will we see Ardapol Gamer try and go down the inside into turn number 1? You can see there Julian using his battery to try and get ahead of him. But down the inside goes Ardapol Gamer. That was a lovely move. I thought he could outbrake himself, but he doesn't. The Red Bull comes back at him into turn 1 and turn 2 with the go then. And Ardapol Gamer has got the race in line. And that was a send there from Ardapol Gamer. I thought he was going to outbrake himself going into turn 1. Braking very hard like that, but yeah, Ardapol Gamer judged it very nicely into turn number 1, slowed the car down. Julian tries to come back at him, but Ardapol Gamer had the race in line, track position, and he claimed P9. So the gap is 2.5 now between Ardapol and Denurko. Can he use that clean air, try and utilise that to try and close in on his teammate and the rest ahead of him? It's all a big slipstream train ahead of him. But FBI by then stuck down there in P17, struggling to get past the Dutch Missile. In these conditions it's very difficult. Denurko, however, is right behind OP Reiki. As you can see there, no benefit from there. It's very easy to... Oh, we hit the back of him. Dutch missile, did he get? No, he didn't. Thankfully, he didn't get sent into a spin. But the closing speed there, FEI by. Hopefully, he hasn't got any full wind damage to stay into that Alpine. Otherwise, it'll be a pit stop for him. Will the conditions get better as well? Will it stop raining? Will we see some dry tyres being used? I think the medium compound tyres will be put on if the rain does stop. Unfortunately for VFEI by in P17 there, just can't seem to find a way past us. Rudy then, the McLaren driver, has set the fastest lap of the race. Got a lot of traffic ahead of him and behind him as well. Wet races can be interesting, but when you're stuck in the trail like this, it's just very, very difficult to try and find a way past unless your opponent ahead of you makes mistakes, of course. It's so hard to close in, especially with the dirty air as well. No help of the DRS down the back straight. If there was DRS, it would just be a big DRS chain. I think if there are one stops, that could be interesting to spice up the order a little bit. There's Toxic Water then, picks himself up, a 3-second time penalty. What I like about the wet conditions is when it goes from wet to dry or dry to wet, because that really does spice things up. I like a mixture in the race because when it's all one weather condition. But Joey then is 1.2 seconds behind Fuzzilio in P3 then, so looks like he's lost a little bit of time. It's Jack Humphries then is right behind him, going into the heavy braking zone at turn number 12. You can see there Jack Humphries much more confident there into the corner. Then Joey getting a little bit wide. But Jack Humphries then, will he think about a move on his teammate, or will he stay behind and try and play the T game? And FA by then has got past the Dutch missile there, fighting over P16. He's off the track, is by as we come into turn number 14. And he gets ahead of the Dutch missile. And now his next target is the AlphaTauri driver ahead of him. The gap is about 2 seconds between himself and the TTG driver. So a massive train ahead of us after that as well. It's a shame what happened to VFEI by in P16. Oh, the Paul Gamer down in P9 then. Can he try and close the gap between himself and Denerko? The gap's been about 2.5 seconds. Been fluctuating a little bit between Denerko and Paul Gamer. It seems like he's struggling a little bit to try and close the gap between himself and his teammate. And you can see Jack Humphries then right behind his teammate Joe. It looks like he's got more confidence in the wet conditions than his Aston Martin teammate there. Just find a little bit more grip is Jack Humphries. The Australian driver tucked in right behind Joey. As we head our way down into turn number 11, this can be an opportunity to overtake, but all of the overtakes are happened at a turn 12. We'll wait for the DRS. We've seen some overtaking there before. It's not really an overtaking spot, because tactically you wait for the DRS down the straight, but Jack Humphries there right behind, he pulls out. I think Joey might have let him go there, he might have lifted off the throttle, so Joey then registering that his Aston Martin teammate is the quicker driver. Now he's in P5 behind him. Can he keep Rudy at bay in P6? But Toxic Tomato then is he's tried to get past CC Braid on that occasion, but CC Braid stays ahead for the time being, ahead of the Ferrari driver. I think it was the other way around. I think Toxic Tomato tried to go for a move on CC Brain, and CC Brain defended really well, so he stays in P12 for the time being. And like, ooh, you can see a massive wheel spin, especially in 5th gear, going down that triple right-hander for sort of Toxic Tomato, revving it out down in 5th gear. As Arnopol Gamer sets the fastest lap of the race, Toxic Tomato saves the car. He is really struggling in these conditions. His teammate is right behind him. Will they swap positions? Will Lewis have to go on attack on CC Brain? They stay in formation for the time being as we go down into turn number 1 then. Lewis looks like he's got better grip, but then Toxic Tomato in P13. LFR driver looks like they're struggling so far. Gotta be careful because the AlphaTauri is right behind them. So looks like Fuzzilio in P3 then. Open outplayed racing in P3 then, in a good position. His teammate is still down there at P7. So looks like if they finish where they start, finish where they are now, it'll still be a good result. But Fuzzilio then coming after Leo, as Leo's under massive pressure from the Alfa Romeo driver behind, as Lewis then overtakes his teammate for P13. You can watch out for the AlphaTauri driver just behind us. It's quite clear to see that Cameron is struggling as Fusilio puts his best middle sector on this lap, so he's going for a push. Is Fusilio, and Boland is right there ahead of us as well, so he's not too far ahead. Still in eyesight range, or still in view, I should say. But Fusilio, then, can he try and find any way past a Red Bull driver of Leo? We're very difficult, especially in these wet conditions. Leo goes a bit off the track there. Gotta be careful not to do it any more than 2 times. Coming out the turn 20, Fusilio sets the fastest lap of the race then. He's on a charge at the moment. He's too far back to make a move into turn 1 unless he absolutely outbricks himself, which you don't want to do there. But Leo goes a little bit deep into turn 1. Fusilio then looks like he's got some pace in that Alfa Romeo. Can he find a way past Leo? Fusilio representing OP race, Outplayed Racing along with OP Reiki down in P7. It's just like it was back in Britain. We didn't see much action in these wet races. Hopefully it will start raining. It looks like it has. I don't think it has started raining. Just a little bit of puddles on the visor there. No drops, it seems. Yeah, I think it's still raining. But it looks like the track, I don't know, maybe the rain could ease off. Might see some pit stops start happening soon. Now we're headed down into turn 12. Fusilio then definitely too far back behind Leo, about 9/10 of the gap. So Leo then has pulled a bit of time on Fusilio in P2, responding to Fusilio's lap times. Joey's then has dropped behind, or dropped back on his teammate Jack Humphries. So Jack Humphries has been released to catch 2nd and 3rd place. So it's proven to be that Jack has more pace than Joey. Joey then has sustained the pressure from Rudy, OP Reiki, Denerco, and Arnapol Gamer, who is catching, by the way. The gap was about 2.9 a few laps ago. That was 1.3. We can see a massive wheel spin there for Joey trying to get on the throttle. But Jack Humphries then has been released and now can set about his sides, catching 2nd, 3rd. And Denerco, Arnapol Gamer then is in the pit lane. Now let's see if it's mediums or intermediate. Oh, it's medium tyres. I would have thought he would have waited for the DRS to be enabled, because that shows an indication for the dry tyres. So Arnapol Gamer then, this is a Hero Zero move. Has he got this absolutely spot on? The Dutch missile coming around the final corner then as he passes Arnapol Gamer. If he's got it absolutely spot on, like Lawrence Stroll down there in the German Grand Prix 2019, looks like he's struggling. So it looks like he's pitted a little bit too early. And yeah, you can see a massive wheel spin coming out of turn number 1 then. So yeah, he might have judged it a little bit too early, but he did pit. Maybe he's giving some information to his teammate Denerco. Let's look at OP Raikkonen right behind Rudy as we go into turn number 11. This is spicing up then. So it's clearly showing that the dry period is coming. We're just almost at that crossover point between the Inters and the medium compound tyres. This is going to be very interesting then. Denerco will get some good information from Arnapol Gamer, who has sacrificed himself to go with the medium compound tyres, but I thought Denerco then would try and go down the inside. There's a massive chain forming behind Joey. Those tyres then. Look at OP Raikkonen go down the inside. Makes contact with Rudy, but gets away with it. Denerco then, when he fancies his chances to go down the inside, he'll try and go around the outside. As CC's Brain has overtaken Harm for P10. Got himself in P10, has the AlphaTauri driver. But Joey is really struggling. He's doing his teammates favours in P4, it must be said. As he continues then to extend the gap from his teammate Joey. Jack Humphries then has overtaken more drivers in the pit lane. That's a late call there for Rudy. Very late call for Deed. But let's see then, is the undercut going to work for these drivers as more pit? Arnapol Gamer, judging by his lap times, is falling away as DRS then is finally enabled. Arnapol Gamer then has definitely, wow, OP Reiki has got on the soft compound tyres. Now, is that the right decision? 15 laps on a set of softs. It's, I don't know actually, that judging by these conditions, maybe, I'm not quite sure actually, but OP Raikkonen gone for an optimistic strategy on those soft compound tyres. He'll be rapid with those brand new spanking set of the soft compound tyres, which will warm up more quickly than the medium tyres, it must be said. The more malleable tyres, where you can see the mediums are the mid-range tyres. So he'll be faster in the first sector with the extra temperature and extra grip that he has, as DRS then is enabled. But Audible Gamer then has rejoined in P14 ahead of Harm, FEI by P16 and Yaftari P17. But for the first time in this race, we will have DRS then. OP Raikkonen needs a decent exit quit out here, which we will do with those soft compound tyres, and it's going to be inevitable that he'll overtake Rudy down the straight. I don't think Rudy should fight too hard, knowing that OP Raikkönen's tyres might drop off towards the end. 15 laps is a bit optimistic on the soft compound tyres, as Lewis has got a 3-second time penalty. Both Ferraris have got 3-second time penalties. So Boland then will head into the pit lane along with everybody else. Leo, Facilio in P3, and Jerry in P4. He'd be desperate to go in the pits as his tyres are dead, as Denerko follows through in P5. Both Ferraris, will they do a double stack, or will they, I don't know, it's going to be a lot of time loss. And they double stack, then both Ferraris will lose a lot of time in the pit lane. You can see massive wheel spin there, but let's see then where Boland rejoins as they come out the pit lane. Where is the Aston Martin driver? Here he comes then. As we head into turn 1, Jack Humphries, has he got ahead of Leo as we make our way into turn 1? Yes, he has, and he's up into P2. You can see that Leo has sustained a lot of a wheel spin as he's trying to heat up the tyres. Look at Fusilio, he has to make this move. Don't go side by side through here, might not end well. And Leo stays ahead for the time being, but both Alfa Romeos. Oh, Jack Humphries has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty, unfortunately, putting pressure on Boland ahead of him, but putting a lot of pressure on himself with a 3-second time penalty. But both Alfa Romeos have gone for a set of soft compound tyres. Toxic Tomato has gone for a set of soft compound tyres down there in P16 as well. So it's really crucial now for both Alfa Romeos to get past these medium runners and pull a massive gap on them. Can 15 laps on the softs doable? Sorry, I'm not quite sure. We don't know what. I don't know actually. This could be very interesting what they could do. They'll be very quick towards the stage of the race, but towards the end they might drop off. And Denerko then has overtaken Joey for P7 in the braking zone. CC Brain is right behind Julian. He's just overtaken for P9. Joey's trying to fight back on the Mercedes driver, but stays ahead. And looks like CC Brain then has made the move on Julian. Up into P9 he goes, followed by Ardpol Gamer, who's in P11. Maybe Ardpol Gamer pitted one lap too early, but look at Facilio right behind Jack Humphries momentarily. But now DRS then is enabled as we make our way onto the straight. Lap 25 out of 28 past the halfway point. Jack Humphries has set the fastest lap of the race. Facilio then will be looking to get past him as quickly as he can while being on the soft compound tyres. An interesting race for the lead here with Boland, Jack Humphries and Facilio. All those tyres drop off towards the end of the race. You can see Facilio there having a massive wheel spin coming out of turn number 1, looking to try and take on Jack Humphries, but probably wait down for turn 12. Jack Humphries there having much more better time in the first sector than Facilio. But Facilio then will desperately, if he gets stuck in this DRS train, Facilio, it'll be not beneficial for him being on those softs. And there he is then, making the move before turn number 12 as we go down the inside. And Facilio then is up into P2 ahead of Jack Humphries. Next up is Boland in P1. And OP Raikkonen behind is putting pressure on Leo for P4. He's going to be very rapid as well on those soft compound tyres. But we'll wait later on in the race to see if the soft compound tyres was a good decision or not, as OP Raikkonen follows in P4. Both Alfa Romeos on a charge, as Julian then is right behind CC Brain, and he overtakes him for P7. It's not worked well for both Ferraris, unfortunately. One of them should have pitted before the other, but they both double stacked. Ardpol Gamer is right behind CC Brain, who's putting pressure on Julian Head to try and take on for P9. But making our way now through the penultimate corner, Facilio will have a really good chance then. Will he go for it into turn 1 if he's close enough, or will it be down at turn number 12, the favourite overtaking spot there? And Facilio then sets the fastest lap of the race. You can see his teammate OP Raikkonen is followed behind. Both Alfa Romeos, they're looking on course to try and take the lead of the race, having a 1-2. But this battle will continue all the way down into turn number 12. Then Facility will be looking to try and get clean exits coming out of the first sector, not to overdo it by cutting the corners. He needs a decent first sector. But Bolin will the pendulum swing towards his way if the soft tyres do die towards the end of the race. That's why it's very pivotal for Facilio and OP Reiki to try and overtake these guys while they've got the high ground on the soft compound tyres. But as we head down into turn number 11, Facilio needs a decent exit, and using the ERS battery, trying to get past Bolin. He can't afford to linger behind Bolin. He's got the life in the soft compound tyres. He needs to use it immediately then as we head down into turn number 12. He does not go down the inside, but there's been a yellow flag down there. That looks like it's one of the Ferraris who's gone for a spin. That's Toxic Tomato. Unfortunately, he's been struggling this race. Maybe USA is not one of his favourite tracks. Oh, look at that then. Facilio then goes down the inside of Bolin. He has made the move stick, and now he has to pull out of Bolin's DRS as quickly as he can. Build that 1 second gap up while he has the chance with those soft compound tyres. If Bolin sticks in with his DRS, it could play into Bolin's hands, as he will sit there in the DRS and wait for Facilio's tyres to die out in the end of the race, as Facilio then sets the fastest lap, which belongs now to his teammate down in P4. People watching the stream, what do you think the best strategy is, mediums or soft? I've watched a couple of USA races. I've been on the track by myself as well, not by myself, but I've been in a few league races around USA, and the tyre life is not that great. Well, overheat is a massive issue around here for sure, but let's see if Facilio has turned his tyre pressures down. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how it all plans out towards the end of the race there. Facilio can't afford to make any mistakes in these corners. He's just gained a little bit of time back towards Bolin's way. As you can see, the Alfa Romeo of OP Raikkonen right behind Jack Humphries. And there's another yellow flag, that's Toxic Tomato, who's gone for another spin. And he rejoins in P17, unfortunately, the Dutch Missile in P16 there. But OP Raikkonen is right behind Jack Humphries, who's got DRS behind Bolin. It might be even more difficult for OP Raikkonen because there's a DRS train ahead of us as Jack Humphries locks up into turn number 1 then. And one Alfa Romeo at the front of this train, the other one behind it in P4. CC Brain has made an overtake on Julian as he moves himself back up into speed. That goes a bit deep on the brakes, might allow Julian to come back through. No, CC Brain stays ahead for the time being. They're both under pressure from Ardipole Gamer, who is in P11, pitted before everybody else. That might cost him a little bit. I think it was that one lap. Pit at the right time, be in the right time in the right place. Heading on to lap 18, 10 laps to go in this race then. Facilio will have about 30 lap old tyres. Will that be sustainable for him? Coming into turn number 1 then. As long as Bolin can stick in the DRS of Facilio, will pay dividends for him later on in the race. That's why Facilio is going to push as hard as he can. Denerco has overtaken Rudy down the inside into turn 1. That must have been a fantastic move there from Denerco to get Rudy into turn number 1. Julian's right behind CC Brain as well, followed by Ardipole Gamer in P11. Lewis is under pressure from the AlphaTauri behind him in P14 there. But back on board, Bolin has dropped outside the 1 second range of DRS. I'm not quite sure if he'll get it. Was he the detection point before? No, he wasn't, so he is outside the 1 second range of DRS. But CC Brain, has he spun? Yes, he has. He's hit the wall for good measure as well. And the rear end just stepped away from him, unfortunately. He was running a good race down there. Costly mistake there for CC Brain. Both TTG drivers need a good result, as Rudy then right behind Denerco doesn't go for an overtake down into turn number 12. And I think another Ferrari is spun. Ardipole Gamer has got past Julian. While that was going on, I think Lewis has gone for a spin, which he has. Toxic Tomato has gone for a bigger spin. Oh, the LFR drivers really struggling around here in Kota. They'll be struggling all together this event. Hopefully they can find some pace in the next few races. I know it's been a massive struggle for LFR so far, but hopefully they can bounce back stronger. As Facilio then still got some good life in those soft compound tyres as he sets the fastest lap of the race. He's built the gap by 1.4 seconds. His teammate, however, looks like he's struggling down to P4. That DRS drain is not helping him. As Rudy then is right behind Denerco. I'd love to see a fight between these two. It was Denerco versus Rudy for the win of the British GP. These two came together at the British GP. I remember now. in the wet conditions. Hopefully they can have a clean fight, these two, because I know they've got a bit personal between those guys. Followed by Jerry in P8, and further behind is Audible Gamer, who is 5.3 seconds behind. And CC Brain then has retired from the session. Well, let's see that. Is OP Rightly close enough on this occasion? No, he's not. He's way too far back into. As Jack Humphries is right behind, well, not right behind him, but in the DRS of Bolan. Another penalty goes towards the TT2 driver, unfortunately for him. There's Rudy then. Will he make the move down the inside? No, he won't. He stays behind Danerka for the time being. Just biding his time. It's just a normal routine now with the dry compound, or with the dry conditions. Harvested energy, waited to a penalty arrival at the right time. As you can see there, Danerka saves some healthy amount of EOS. He knows that Rudy just staying behind, waiting for the DRS. It's just a DRS battle between those guys. It's not for OP Riker though. He would dearly love to get past these two, otherwise those soft compound tyres will no longer be in good use towards the end of the race, and therefore be stuck in P4. It was a good optimistic strategy, but will it work out for two Alfa Romeos? I know the tyres can go about 9 or 10 laps without the overheated phase. As Bolan then is the gap is between 2 seconds between Fasilio and Bolan. Jack Humphries has got that 3 second time penalty, unfortunately for him. Looking to try and get a podium for Shazoo. But Jack Humphries then still in P3. You never know, any of these drivers might get a penalty. Leo's in P5, 3.6 further behind. Leo's just running his own race down in P5, not under pressure from behind or in front. Can he close that gap down between himself and Jack Humphries to take P4? As we go down into turn number 12, then Jack Humphries getting closer towards Bolan, putting pressure on him. And you can see there Rudy behind Danerka, but he's not going for it on that occasion. TF10 driver versus IFR. IFR currently leading the championship, as Bayer has got himself ahead of Harm. It was a shame what happened to him in the opening stages of the race. I'm not quite sure if OP Reiki and himself came together, but what could it have been for both Alpines there, working really well. And I got caught up in that phase where it started drying up, so one of them might have to stay out longer and therefore cost themselves a lot of time. But nevertheless, what race could it have been between them and the second RP driver? And OP Reich then just stuck in P4 then. He cannot find a way past Jack Humphries and Bolan. Those soft compound tyres might be done at their best performance. Their peak performance might have been gone, so that chance is possibly over. And therefore the level pegging with the medium runners might be much better now than the soft compound tyres. As Harm then has overtaken Byers. Looks like he made a mistake. Looks like he's been on the gravel, judging by the tyres. So unfortunately there, might have lost traction coming out of turn 1. Hopefully he didn't hit the wall as well. Doesn't look like he's hit the wall, so might got away with damage. It's cost him a lot. It's cost him a position there. You can see him, the back end of the car, just stepping out. As Jack Humphries there getting ever closer towards Bolan. He got nothing to lose as Jack Humphries, so he might as well go for it while got that 3 second time penalty. We're going to be careful not to fight Bolan too much, because you got the likes of Leo who could still be in close range for P4. So Jack Humphries there might be following Bolan for the DRS for the time being. When it comes later towards the race, he will pounce on him, take him off for P2 and try and finish in P4. He'll be hoping that Bolan and OP Reiki picks up a penalty. Be hoping for Reiki's tyres to fall off as well. Closing stages of the race. Might be hard to build up a 3 second gap over OP Reiki if that does happen. But lap 8 then. OP Reiki pitted 1 lap before Fasilio. Looks like Fasilio's made the right choice so far in P1. The gap is about 2.4, but I can't wait till we get about lap 25. Let's see if the tyres do drop off. The pendulum might swing towards Bolan's way, but if the tyres don't drop off, what a strategy call that was for Fasilio in P1 there to try and boost themselves up ahead. Do a different strategy instead of being stuck in the DRS train. He's chosen a different strategy. Let's see if it works for him. He's got the advantage so far, used a lot of EOS as well to try and try to build a massive gap over Boland. Another interesting battle to watch out for is Denurko and Rudy and Joey. Looks like Arnopol Gamer is struggling to close in on these three ahead of him. But like I said before, Rudy's just biding his time, waiting for the perfect opportunity to try and pounce on Denurko. It'll be later in the race when those two start fighting. Hopefully there'll be no contact between these two. The IFR drivers are leading the championship, but will it change hands later on in the race? One of the Red Bulls is sat in P5, the other one's down in P10. Julian Leo's having another good race in P5. Could find himself in P4 if he can find a little bit more time towards Jack Humphries, but it looks like Jack Humphries has got that covered. The gap is about 5.1 towards Jack Humphries between Leo and the Aston Martin driver. And we're on lap 23 out of 28, there are 6 laps to go, including this one. I wonder how Hopi Raki's tyres are doing at this stage. We're definitely losing the grip of performance through sector 1. If he's outside the 1 second range of DRS, it'll be very hard to close back in. He's already lacking ERS. The soft tyres then maybe fade away a little bit too quickly. And therefore the mediums then are much better than the softs in terms of pace. That was definitely a different strategy call, it must be said, for both Alfa Romeo drivers. Working well for one so far. It's also working well for OP Raikkonen, it must be said, because if it stays like this, both Alfa Romeos will be on the podium first and third. They started 4th and 5th. So it is still a good result for both of them. But OP Raikkonen just going to hope that those tyres don't fade away too much and drop himself out this 3 second gap. But like I said, Jack Humphries they will be hoping that one of them gets a 3 second time penalty, so there's a chance of a podium still on offer for him. Such an easy circuit to pick up a penalty. Julian's right behind Arnopol Gamer for P9. Arnopol Gamer got ahead of him a few laps ago, but Julian looks like he's coming for revenge. Arnopol Gamer's lost a second towards Joey, Rudy and Denurko. Well, towards Joey, so looks like he made a mistake somewhere in the course of that lap, so allowed Julian to just pull in a little bit. I hope to see a good fight between Arnopol Gamer and Julian. And it's lap 24. That looks like Boland's not closing the gap down between Fasilio. Fasilio looks like he's doing a really good job in P1. There's Toxic Tomato, unfortunately, has left the session. But is there going to be enough tyre life towards the end of the race? Will he suffer on heavy tyre wear? But it looks like the Alpine then has gone for a spin. Yes, he has, then unfortunately for him. Worst case scenario for Fasilio will probably be a safety car, because that will allow Boland to close in and make Boland's job even more easier. The gap's gone down a little bit between himself and Fasilio. The gap is 2.2. The tyres may have been gone for Fasilio. You can see him there just fading away. Hopefully the AI of Toxic of Motto doesn't distract him too much. The gap is 2 seconds, so the gap is definitely closing down between those guys. As Rudy yet again not going for a move on Denurko. Denurko just staying ahead for the time being. Used a lot of EOS in the process, so be careful, because he might be vulnerable later on in the race. It's very hard to save EOS while you're out there on your own. But the gap's gone up to 2.3 down to 2.2 now. Let's see then. Lap 25 out of 28. As those tyres still got some life in them for Fasilio to try and win this race. Can Boland win this race on the medium compound tyres? OP Raikkonen still in the DRS of Jack Humphries, so himself, he's done a good job in P4 to tag along with these two. It could be even harder for him in the last few laps of this race to try sticking that DRS. It's about 9 tenths outside and now 1 second. It could be a little bit hard to try and close in. Maybe close in with those two being in the dirty air of each other. Might get DRS or Toxic Tomato. And somebody else has gone for a spin. Who's that? That's the McLaren of the Dutch Missile in P15. Oh, it's a virtual safety car. Oh, look at that. He's stuck there in the barriers. It looks like he's left the session and his AI is struggling to get out. No, I think he's still in the session. That was a bit weird. Did he struggle to find a reverse? But he's out of the barriers finally. Or maybe he was pausing to try and reset the track. That's probably why. He was going into AI, out of AI to try and reset the track. I think it would have saved him more time if he just was reversed out there. But he's caused a virtual safety car. You can see Fasilio trying to burn down some fuel while he's got the chance. Saved him a little bit of tyre life for Fasilio. Cooled down the tyres a little bit if they are overheating. OP Raiki's dropped back quite a lot on Jack Humphries. Might get the DRS of Toxic Tomato and try and pull himself back with Jack Humphries and Bolin, but the soft compound tyres looks like they're evidently fading away from both Alfa Romeos. I never knew you could do 50 laps on a set of softs. The most I've ever done is about 8 or 9, but under normal circumstances, of course, when it's not raining, you pit early from the undercut because the mediums could go a long way. Because in the first stages of the race, the Dutch Missile has picked up a drive-through penalty, but in the early stages, you've suffered with overheating and being in the DRS trade. And that's why you pit early to get out of that DRS trade and do undercut on your rivals ahead. But the alternate strategy between mediums and softs is really powerful as well. You pit about lap 18 on the soft compound tyres to go towards the end. But look at the gap between Bolin and Fasilio, it's 1.2 now. As you can see, the Alfa Romeo driver is definitely struggling. It was a good strategy call, but looks like his tyres are fading away. He had to do something different, but he's locks up going into turn number 11, goes a bit deep as well. It'll drag the attention of Bolin. Dragging along Jack Humphries as well. Look at the gap between Jack and OP Raiki, it's about 2.2. Can Jack try and get a podium by pure pace, thanks to OP Raiki's tyres falling off? As you can see then, he's in DRS range of Fasilio. He's struggling on those soft compound tyres. I dare say he hasn't got anything to respond with, as Audible Gamer has been overtaken. Looks like he made a mistake somewhere. But Bolin then, the pendulum has sworn towards his way with the tyre wear. Fasilio will be under massive pressure in these last few laps of the race. As we're coming into the final corner then, lap 27 out of 28, 2 laps to go in this race. Who's going to take the race victory? Will it be Fasilio? Can it be Bolin? Can Jack get on the podium? OP Raikkonen, can he stay within that 3-second window? I thought it would be a double Alfa Romeo podium, but it looks like Jack Humphries might get it thanks to the tyre difference. Both Alfa Romeos tried something different. Tyres are 12 and 30 laps old. You can see that Bolin's got more cornering speed in comparison to Fasilio. Can push that a little bit harder in the first set, so in all corners in fact, to get closer towards him. And he'll find himself then leading the race very shortly if he can get past him on the straight. How can Fasilio respond? He really can't respond on ERS, he can't respond on tyre life. He's going to weave down the straight like crazy. Got to be careful not to weave too many times down the straight. But here we go then, DRS enabled for the LP driver, bringing along the Aston Martin as well. And Bolin then, Fasilio goes down the inside to defend, and Bolin will take the lead off Fasilio. Not a good effort for Fasilio, but unfortunately those tyres just suffered in the end and he took the pain, but still find himself on the podium if he doesn't lose too much time. He'll finish in P2 at best. I hope he doesn't suffer a puncher, because that'll be a massive shame. Unfortunately the gaps are gone, so hopefully when they cross the line we'll get them back. So nobody's close enough on this occasion to make a move on each other. So the Dutch Missile has set the fastest lap of the race. They were approaching the final lap of the race. Bolin leads ahead of Fasilio, who has DRS now, but can he respond on those old soft compound tyres? Can he try and find better grip in the first set to then Bolin? It'll be a massive struggle. And Jack Humphries then will get a podium, because the gap is 3.3 now between OP Raiki and Jack Humphries then, so the podium will belong to him. And you can see he's right on the back of Fasilio, carrying more speed than the Alfa Romeo driver. Fasilio will probably get DRS. Jack needs a decent exit, but I don't think he want to risk it too much fighting Fasilio, not picking up another penalty. But look at Jack's DRS status, it's quite healthy. Might even try and fancy down the turn 11, but he'll wait for the straight, as we all do. And Jack then will apply the ERS on the last lap. His ERS save has been quite good actually from Jack's point of view, and he'll pick himself up a nice P3. Unfortunately there, the Alfa Romeos back into third and fourth, and one of them will pick up a podium. OP Reiki then is really struggling on those soft compound tyres. He's dropped back massively. Brazilian could still have a chance of winning this race if Bowler picks up a penalty, but Bowler then going to keep it nice and clean from here on in. What a drive it's been from the FER driver, doing a fantastic job. Unfortunately, his teammate didn't have the best of races, but I hope he comes back stronger. Does FEA by in P11. But anyways, your man Bolan will make his way around the final corner, and he will take the victory of the USA Grand Prix ahead of Jack Humphries. Fasilio will take P2. And OP Reiki will finish in P4 ahead of TF Leo in P5. Denerko, good recovery from him in P16 to P6 ahead of Rudy. Jerry in P8 ahead of Julian in P9. Harm will finish in P10 to round off the top 10. And then it'll be FEA by in P11, followed by Ardipol Gamer, who is tucked in right behind him. It's going to be a last corner move from Audible Gamers to get close enough. Here we go then, as we make our way. In fact, he's got a 3-second time penalty. You can see the FEA by anticipated that last lap attack by going on defensive. But it wouldn't matter anyway, that Audible Gamer has got that penalty. Hope you all enjoyed that race. It was a nice transition from wet to dry as the Dutch missile sends it in the wall. Congratulations for Boland to taking the victory. OP Fasilio did a fantastic job trying to hold on. Well, unfortunately, didn't have anything to respond with those old grain and soft compound tyres. Had to accept defeat, but it was nice to see him do something different. Jack Humphries in P3, what a drive it was from him. His good friend Shazoo Tom will be very happy with that one. See his Aston Martin teammate up there. Good result for both Aston Martin's team Shazoo. They'll be very happy with that one, of course. I think they're level pegging with Talent Factory Esports TF drivers. I think, yeah, that'd be a very good result. Will Team Shazoo leapfrog Talent Factory Esports in the championship? IFR will have their lead cut down. They didn't have the best race, did they? The Dutch Missile in P15 and Rudy in P17 there, so their lead will be reduced in the championship. And the Dutch Missile has finally crossed the line to round off the USA Grand Prix then, starting from wet, transition to dry. And I hope you all enjoyed the race. It's been a pleasure to commentate for the Shazoo Championship. Still got plenty of more rounds to go. I think 4 more rounds left to go after this one. But my name is Jamie Morris, or LFR Indigo. I've been your commentator today. Hopefully you enjoyed what you've seen so far. And come back for us for tomorrow if you want to see the Formula Sim series. Fabai, oh, apologies Fabai in P11 there. We're calling you FVA by. I'm very sorry about that one Fabai, but I will remember for next time. Come back stronger Fabai as well in P11. You had the pace, but unfortunately, I don't know what happened between you and OP Reiki, but yeah, come back stronger for both of you. Congratulations, Bowler, for the race victory. We'll end it there. See you all tomorrow if you want to tune in for the Tier 1 Div 1 stream. And for those who are tuning in for the championship, we'll see you all next week. Same time on Wednesday at 7:30. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night.